Thank you very much for coming to this program, which, of course, is a new start for us at Mobility Outlook. And in this journey, I'm delighted to have Mr. Manek here with us, who's going to deliver the keynote address. I must also thank, to begin with, our supporting partner, MG Motor India, and knowledge partner, Markets and Markets, represented by Mr. Kaushik Madhavan. Right after this first inaugural session, Kaushik will present to us a study on the transformational trends in ADAS and AD. And right after that, there'll be a panel discussion, of course. Now, ladies and gentlemen, many of you who have followed our journey over the last 26 odd months know exactly what Mobility Outlook stands for. We started off as India's first and the most holistic platform, media platform, that covers the mobility sector, with focus on automotive, aviation, and gradually, of course, micromobility and everything, and gradually also look at areas of railways, maritime, and the like. In these past 26 months, since we launched in April 2021, we have created, not just built our credibility as a thought leader in the industry, but also have created some very unique intellectual properties, IPs, that are unique in the sense Mobility Outlook as a concept is built around three key verticals: content, events, and intelligence. Now, when I talk of intelligence, we have built what is India's most comprehensive, largest, widest consumer survey, automotive survey, and we've had Kaushik supporting us on that while building the Indian Automotive Consumer Canvas. The Indian Automotive Consumer Canvas, ladies and gentlemen, the last time we did it, we closed at 2.56 lakh responses, which if you just look at the number itself, is far higher, far bigger than any survey that you can think of in India today. We, of course, want to build that. We also have a property called Women in Mobility. We've done that for 2 years, third year running, wherein we just don't recognize and honor women leaders in the sector, but our idea, along with another initiative called Champions of Diversity, we're looking at organizations doing stellar work in building the diversity quotient in their organizations. Similarly, we do events around electric mobility. We do an event on electric two-wheelers. We do an event focused on powertrain of the future. We do one on safety and security, and multiple such events. This one, ladies and gentlemen, is our newest initiative. And the idea here is Mobility FutureTech is not going to be one event in a year. Mobility FutureTech would actually be a series of discussions, deliberations on key technology subjects. So what we've started today is on ADAS and AD. The next one, as a gradual progression, we're going to have an event on software-defined vehicles. And after SDVs, we're going to look at cybersecurity. So similarly, we are going to do a proper spread of different such technology subject areas. And while I'm talking of Mobility Outlook, it is also my very proud privilege to announce that our app, the Android app of Mobility Outlook, is now live on the Play Store. So I request all of you to please download that, use that. It'll certainly help you stay informed of what we do. And if you look at your name badges, on the reverse of your name badges, there's a quick response code. You may scan and also download the app. Now, talking of road safety, ladies and gentlemen, of course, road safety is one of the biggest public health, public health burdens worldwide, right? And it's intrinsically linked to the Sustainable Development Goals. Road safety is critical for the country's growth and prosperity, given that road accident-related deaths and injuries, of course, are one of the leading causes and of disabilities, hospitalization, and with severe socio-economic costs impact to the country, and particularly for a developing nation like India. In fact, if you just look at numbers, the last recorded data says that the socio-economic cost to India from road accidents and fatalities account for 3.14% loss to the GDP, right? Which is equivalent to rupees 4 lakh crore every year. And I don't need to really give you numbers in terms of the road condition in India. We are all aware that India has the highest number of road-related deaths in the world. Last year, last accounted number was 1,53,972 recorded deaths, which is actually 421 deaths every day. So 421 people who leave their homes every day do not return home. That's the kind of situation. And despite many initiatives, right? You look at the government, you look at the industry, you look at the civil society, NGOs, everyone's been so focused on road safety. We talk about the 4 E's, right? Education, engineering, emergency care, enforcement. To my mind, enforcement has remained the biggest concern, right? So, of course, there are a lot of initiatives been taken, and I think the creation of the national road safety board is a very welcome move, and I hope that and I hope that that really leads to a lot of changes in the numbers that we are talking about, right? Coming to technology, of course, we're here talking of ADAS and AD. I'm no expert on ADAS and AD, so I'm not going to talk anything about ADAS and AD. We have a stellar lineup of speakers today, right from Mr. Manek here, who's going to, of course, deliver the keynote right after this. We have we have two panel discussions actually. One on passenger vehicles. We have Kaushik who's going to moderate this. We have Mr. Mohan Savarkar from Tata Motors. We have Satish Sundaresan from Electrobit, Siris Bachu from Embitel. Yeah, and two panel discussions. The other one on commercial vehicles. We have a fireside chat right after lunch with Mr. C.V. Raman. He's the CTO of Maruti Suzuki India. He's going to be with us in the afternoon. And then we have very, very interesting technical presentations from Automotive Test Systems, from Netrodyne, from Viavia Labs, as well as NI, National Instruments. So with these few words, I welcome each one of you, and I hope that you have a very fruitful day today. I request all of you to be participative. We will try and get as many questions as possible from you, because that's the idea. We have experts on stage, but we also have experts as part of our delegates today. So let it be healthy discussion, and I'd welcome that. Right? With this, I welcome each one of you once again, and I'd now like to invite Mr. Manek for his presentation.
Basics. Okay. Good morning, and once again, thank you, Dipanshu, and thank you, Mobility Outlook, for organizing this this event. Very critical topic. I think Dipanshu already set the tone for the day, and all of us in this room and outside this room obviously are into this. How do we catch up on some of these things vis-a-vis what other countries or globe is doing? So the topic, of course, is ADAS and AD. But I would still take a couple of minutes just to flip upon what MG is all about in next 2-3 minutes, just to give an idea and perspective. So we are relatively, if I say relatively, in the terms of automobile OEMs in the country, new. We started rolling out vehicles in 2019. We are in Halol. In our plant is in Halol. Of course, the corporate office is in Gurgaon. We have 3,000 plus direct, indirect workforce with a presence in 150 plus cities so far. And we are trying to catch up. We are trying to learn from the best practices of all the OEMs in the industry, and we are very thankful for the great support that we have been receiving. Before we actually even started rolling out cars in 2019 onwards, we did start in our small bit working for some of the community services. And now this has evolved into what we call MG Seva. It's a movement within the organization. There is no specific team for that. Anybody who wants to volunteer for any of the causes that are outlined here, he or she is more than welcome. So that's what we try to encourage, and we are feeling we are doing at least reasonably well in these aspects of because we cannot be aloof from the needs of the community, from the society, and so on and so forth. I think Dipanshu touched upon women in mobility or diversity, the topic which keeps coming up. And I think we as a country have done sufficient or reasonable progress, but there is a lot way to go, lot more to go. And we also do take pride in what we are trying to do out here. When we started, we took an aspirational target of 30% women workforce. Uh, for those of all of us who are associated with auto OEMs in the industry, we probably appreciate that this is not that easy a task to have 30% workforce. We are not talking only office, we are talking shop floor as well. But it has started giving results, and today we stand at 37% put together. And that has again inspired us to take a challenge which nature follows, which is one-on-one, which is 50%. And I think with all the efforts that we all are putting and with what industry is coming up with, I think we should be able to reach there. But there is a journey to go. It's a good experience to have. So we incidentally also came up with one of our first manual spray painters, one of the first in the country. I mean, she herself volunteered to learn, because till that time, even we did not think that we would be putting. And now we have a series of women painters in our paint shop as well. We will now touch upon the subject for the day, the topic for the day, the ADAS. And of course, that evolves as we will see as we progress from the case which is connected, autonomous, shared, and electrification, and how it is important in terms of the country, in terms of the Indian industry. We'll try to catch up on. And last, of course, so far what we have rolled out, as I said, we started in 2019, rolling out our first Hector, followed by first EV, ZS, then Gloucester, Aster, and then this year early we came up with the next generation of Hector, and finally last month we launched our second EV, which is the Comet. So that was very brief for what we are trying to do in the country so far as an MG. Moving on to ADAS, like I think again Dipanshu shared what it means in terms of importance to the road safety. It's a good thing that all the industry is starting to recognize this, and we are trying to work around that. There is a progress that has happened, but then there is a lot more to do. Covering some of the touch points or data points, and I was hearing when Dipanshu was giving data, it's incidentally alarming. So we know we have around 60 lakh plus kilometers of road in India. That's a data published by the government. And of these, the highways constitute close to 5%. Others are the normal internal roads. So state highways, national highways constitute close to, let's say, 5%. But when it comes to the accidents, what again was referred, a good number of actually annually fatalities are happening because of the road accidents, close to 1.5 lakhs. And when again the data is further gone down, while 5% of the highways constitute total road population in the country, but the deaths because of the accidents happening constitute 61% or 60+% from the highways. So imagine if this trend continues, and we know highways are going to grow. It's growing. With this trend, the accidental deaths further, has a chance to worsen. And that's where this becomes very important, whether 4Es, whether enforcement, which is absolutely a must, but then can there be some more to assist in terms of technology to prevent or try and prevent some of these road accidents, whether it is vehicle driven or somewhere else, something else. So that's basically how the ADAS is becoming so much important for all of us in the know, in the industry, so to say. And again, giving an example of how technology has evolved. I mean, we have seen how electricity, bulbs, light bulbs today, how telephones have evolved. I mean, the days of phones and the days of today's mobiles. Similarly, vehicles have also evolved like anything in terms of technology, connectivity, and now safety. Some terminology just to touch upon, and of course, these are more of a reference because there are always some tweakings which keeps happening. So we call level 1 ADAS, level 2 ADAS, level 3 ADAS, so on and so forth. It's basically, in very basic terms for all of us, is anything that is assisting some bit of it to the driver at the seat is level 1. Level 2, let's say some sort of partial automation is available in the vehicle for assisting and controlling some of the movements of the driver. Level 3 is kind of conditional automation. Means there will be some response required for the driver to respond. And level 4 is further next levels, which is high automation, and under some limited conditions, the vehicle takes over everything. And level 5, of course, you don't need a driver. So that's basically steps of the ADAS as we know, as we speak in the industry, for a reference purpose. Going to further basics of down the line for ADAS, when we say ADAS, there are several features which constitute ADAS, and I'm sure all of us know this. But just to set this, like we have, excuse me, we have lane assist systems, we have AEB, which is autonomous or automatic emergency braking, very critical function. But there are challenges to implement that as well, as we'll see. We have speed assist system. I mean, the road signs, the speed warnings which are written on the road can be, captured by the camera of the vehicle, can be read, and can be also controlled in terms of the speed. So overspeeding and all those things, if you are using this function, can be controlled as well. ACC, we know cruise control, and the next level, of course, is adaptive cruise control, which means we keep maintaining the distance between the vehicle which is in the front. We adjust the speed as per that, if we have set the ACC function on or enabled. And of course, the RDA, which is the rear drive assist or the traffic jam alerts or the rear cross alert, so on and so forth. It's basically to do with anything that is in the rear. So these are some of the features which ADAS at various levels, level 1, level 2, level 3, so on and so forth, keeps bringing onto the vehicles. What we have tried to use these features, like as I said, among the top 10 industry innovations, and again this is a survey which is published widely across, the top 4 constitute what we all know as CASE, which is connectivity, autonomous, shared, and electrification. And this 4 itself constitute close to 70%. And which is why the autonomous vehicle, which is kind of highest, 20+%, becomes again, reinforces the fact that why we need this to be important and critical. So we added some of these features in our vehicles. We started with Gloucester, which was our first premium SUV. We came up with some of these features which were qualifying, let's say, level 1 in terms of ACC, in terms of AEB, APA, so on and so forth. Then next year we came up with Aster, which is our next model, which we launched with the ADAS, but level 2, because we added some more features, some more, let's say, partial automation. And then we came up with the new gen Hector, where the original Hector was not having ADAS, but the new gen Hector or the next gen Hector, which we launched early this year or December of the last year, has some more features which are again level 2. It has been accepted very well so far, so we want to build upon this. Now, I think what Dipanshu was kind of touching, that we do have challenges as a country to come around or to work around this. And they are in line with some of the challenges which global companies have faced as well, and they are also facing. But we are not very different in that times. Of course, we have certain Indian unique conditions. So whether it is the marking of the roads, the road layout, the traffics, some of the objects seen in the streets, and these are some of the data which global sites have shared that they do come across when they want to calibrate their system, because everything is finally, how is our system in terms of vehicle adapting to the surroundings on the road? And with India, it becomes some more, let's say, unique, because we do have special category of vehicles, we do have special driving habits, we do have foreign objects suddenly coming on road, we do have loading patterns. So that becomes again some more bit of unique challenge added to some of the already global challenges that is seen in the industry. So how do we kind of attack this or address this? I think the way forward, why we are seeing ADAS being increasingly becoming more and more prevalent and popular or need is, one, thankfully, because of the regulations that are getting formed up for this. So again, it goes to the enforcement. Whenever it is enforcement, it is seen that we are able to, come up to the challenge, and this becomes more of mandatory for all of us as an industry to start adopting as soon as we can. And of course, the roadside accidents and the data which we saw, that also warrants all of us to work towards this, to mitigate some of these challenges. And the recent survey also suggests that even consumers are more and more now getting inclined in terms of knowledge, in terms of their wanting to give an extra money if they are able to, get satisfied with the technology that is being talked about. So close to 55% are now saying, yes, they will be open to consider ADAS if it is addressing some of their concerns. What industry within country we can do and we are doing as an industry is, of course, the ADAS system, let's say some of the multinationals or some of the countries where ADAS is already grown there, we cannot directly bring it to India. For obvious reasons, we have to still adapt it to the Indian conditions and the challenges which we talk about. So a lot of data capturing needs to be in place before we even customize or adapt what is happening in our vehicle outside the country. And with a very solid, robust IT industry that we have as a country, I think auto OEMs and the IT can very much tie up in certain areas of this development of technology to suit each other's needs and to get to the level of the product that is required for the Indian conditions or the Indian road conditions. And lastly, of course, on the implementation part, the discussion has already commenced on the regulations front for the ADAS, and that I think will be very great move. And if we can, and I think government is very going fast on this, if we can adopt the regulation standards from the global likewise, so that will prompt all of us as an industry to move faster on this. And of course, we need to keep spreading our awareness and the awareness across the masses for this technology. It is not just technology, it is a technology, but then it is more important from when it comes to the safety of the people, safety of the roadside traffic as well. So with that, I would conclude the keynote, Devanshu. I tried to touch upon the overall things, but that was all we had. But looking forward to the whole day's presentation and interactions. Thank you so much.